I have a super exciting poker session for you all today that involves tons of friends, drinks, and massive pots being dragged my way. The chips were flying throughout the entire night, but nothing compares to how the night ended with two massive pots coming my way on the felt. One of them, of course, with my favorite hand, pocket sevens. But before we jump into the poker, my birthday was July 25th, and I celebrated it in Sonoma with some friends and family. On the same day, I played 27 holes of golf, 9 at Northwoods and 18 at the links at Bodega Harbor. But before you guys roast me, I know my swing needs some work. The food was amazing, but even more so was the sick pad that Wander gave me for our entire stay. It basically was like an Airbnb on steroids. Of course, I'm sweaty at ping pong, and nobody wanted to play me by the end of the trip, but our favorite part by far was the pool with the crazy sunset views. I'm not getting paid anything for this, but I got Wander to give back to you guys, so anyone who makes a free account using my link in the description gets $250 off their stay. So if you guys need a spot for an upcoming trip, I'd highly recommend. But after a few days of not having played poker, it's time to jump back into the action at Grayton Casino. Greg, the poker room manager, along with Brad Owen, helped me set up a meetup game here. We have 5 tables with a list, all Wolfgang Poker subscribers that are trying to make the vlog.
Just keep doing what you're doing, because it's good stuff.
Thanks, man.
Keep the YouTube stuff.
Legend.
They locked up seat 2 at all of those 5 tables, so I'll be hopping around, having some drinks, and trying to get into some fun pots. The blinds are 3-5, that's a California special, $300 to $1,000, I'm in for the max. The straddle is on for most of the night. We raise it up to $30 with ace-10 offsuit. DJ in the small blind puts in the call. We lose the straddler who doesn't want to play for $20 more. Off to a flop we go in position, which comes jack-4 deuce. DJ checks, I go for a c-bet, and he puts in the call. The turn pairs the top card. When DJ checks it over to me for a second time, I think a lot of the time I will be checking back. However, he could have some flush draws and some pocket pairs. It's a meetup game after all, and one thing you guys have to realize is that people want to make the video, so they're gonna call me down a lot later. Ace high could be good against a lot of those hands. If I can get a hand like pocket 5s, 6s, or 7s to fold, well, that's a huge win. So Cinco de Mayo it is, $55 in the middle. I don't need to go super large. After DJ puts in the call, it's possible he does have a jack, but he still could have some of those flush draws and sticky pairs. The river card comes the 8 of hearts, and DJ checks it over to me for a 3rd time. If I'm trying to get a pocket pair to fold, I don't need to go very large. I'm betting 3 streets. That should tell the story of having a jack, so I go around half pot for 125. DJ doesn't look thrilled, but at the end of the day, he puts his money in the middle in the form of 1 chip. That's a call. I turn over my bluff, and he turns over a hand that he should never be folding, queen jack offsuit, and nearly $500 going the villain's way.
Got it. Got me. Got me.
Alright, we pick up a much better hand, ace-king offsuit now from the straddle. A buddy Andrew from under the gun raises it up to $30. Pretty easy decision pre-flop. I 3-bet to 110 and Andrew finds the call. When the flop comes 10-10-4, I could go for a small bet or I could mix in some checks. The action goes check-check on the flop, and the turn now comes the 6 of hearts. Having the 6 of hearts in my hand is important because I can call some bets on this turn. Don't really think there's much merit in leading out here. I'm getting nothing better to fold, and I'm just gonna get called by better. So check it over to Andrew, and he checks it back, giving me probably the best hand on the river when it comes the ace of spades. After checking my cards to make sure I do in fact have ace-king offsuit, I decide to go small here for $75.
That's a really good card for my range, so I don't need to go super big here. You don't need to call 75 to be a hero.
Hoping that entices Andrew to find a call with a pocket pair like 9s, 8s, or 7s, but he doesn't. He checks his cards and makes a disciplined laydown. Alright, downgrading now to ace-jack offsuit. There's a raise to 15, a call to my right, and I decide to call from the big blind. 3 ways to the flop we go, which comes king, jack, deuce. The small blind checks, I check, actions on Andrew. Into a $45 pot comes a c-bet of 25 smackaroonies. Small blind folds, and I have a pretty straightforward call. When the turn comes the 4 of spades, really shouldn't change anything, and I check it over to Andrew once again. There's 95 in the middle, and when he bets Cinco de Mayo for $55,
Cinco de Mayo.
Well, I think I just have to put in the call once again. Sure, he could have a king and I'm just losing money, but there's a ton of other hands that I beat. For instance, Queen Jack, Queen 10, Ace 5 of clubs, so I think calling here is very reasonable. When the river card now comes the 3 of diamonds, I start with the check once again. It's important not to lead here. I'm not getting called by any worse, but if I check, I can allow Andrew to bluff, and of course I can call him off with all of those hands I just mentioned. But Andrew wisely checks behind. This $200 pot is surely coming my way. I turn over the ace, followed by the jack. He mucks his cards.
Dude, nice bluff, dude.
Hand after hand. Oh my God.
Way to follow through on the river.
Right, this hand is pretty fun. Under the gun raises it up to 25. I decide to call with pocket 5s. Andrew calls when we pick up a few other callers, going multi-way to the flop, which comes 3-3 deuce with 2 clubs. The action checks through and the turn now comes the king of clubs. Unfortunately, I don't have a club in my hand. The action checks through once again, bringing in the 5 of clubs on the river. Bang, we river a boat. To make it a little bit sweeter, we see Daniel fires out now into the field for $70. We lose the pre-flop raiser, but no fear. Here comes a raise, $225. You want to go super large because I'm targeting any ace of clubs, queen of clubs type of hand. Additionally, if Daniel was somehow slow playing a 3 from the blinds, well, we want to go large here. A good recommendation is go the size of the pot. So when Daniel adds $70 to the middle, we want to go somewhere around $200. After I make it $225 to go, Daniel got his hand caught in the cookie jar, it seems, because he folds his cards. There's no way he had the ace of clubs there. Of course, he would have snapped me off, and this $420 pot, yes, I'm in California, so 420 is a legal bet size here, is coming my way. Making a boat on the river is always welcome, and we move right into the next hand, queen deuce of clubs from the +1. We pick up the action on the turn real quickly. The pre-flop action was just a raise from the cutoff and a few calls. The action checks through on the flop, and I decide to bet out on the turn when I have the queen high flush. DJ now raises me to $75, and I do something funny that I probably wouldn't do in any other situation other than a meetup game, and I raise him basically the minimum. I click it back to $125. Action's back over to DJ, and he decides to rip his entire stack in for $591. What is happening here? Does he have the king or ace high flush, or does he have a hand like 6-8 or 6 deuce, ace deuce, some sort of straight, maybe pocket 7s, 5s, or 4s? It's my meetup game after all, so if I'm in a cooler situation, well, I'm just gonna give back to the poker community. I put in the call, and the river card comes the 10 of clubs. In a $1,200 pot, DJ doesn't look stoked to see that last club. I turn over my cards, and then he shows king 6 of clubs. Maybe he thought I had the ace of clubs in my hand, but it's not to be. DJ, you are winning this pot. And look at that, he's gonna put a bang sticker on me. It's not often you see this on the vlog, so I'm gonna let you guys relish in this moment.
How much was it?
Right, hopping over to table number 2. This one was a lot of action. We got the $10, $20, and $40 straddle put on for you guys. A bunch of limps. I decide to check my option, and the flop comes Jack, Jack 7. Action checks through on the flop, giving me 2 pair on the turn, and Siva now bets out for $30. Of course, I'm going nowhere. I find the call on the river. Now comes the 6 of spades. Siva now slows down and checks. Action's on me. I decide to check behind with my showdown value. I don't want to get into a check raise situation and have to fold the best hand, so I check behind. He shows 7-5 of clubs, and we are taking down hand number 1 here at the second table. That's it for table number 2. Table 3 delivers right away with a straddle, a raise, a call, and a great squeeze situation for me incoming. I decide to go large here to 125. King Queen offsuit is the hand we're going to go to battle with. What we don't expect is the button to find the call for 125. We're going to lose everybody else, so undesired outcome here. Out of position the rest of the way, and the board doesn't come great for us. 5-4 deuce with 2 diamonds. Starting with a check here seems reasonable. If I had aces, I also probably would mix in some checks as well. He actually goes check, check, bringing in the 7 of hearts on the turn. Of course, when there's a 7 on board and I'm in the pot, there's always a high chance I have pocket 7s, but I'm going to slow down and check once again. I don't think I'm getting any ace highs to fold like ace, king, ace, queen. And when he calls my 3-bet to 125, well, he probably has a hand like pocket 9s, pocket 8s, pocket 10s, and those definitely aren't folding as well. Gonna get a lot of information here when I check it over to Matt. He's on the button and bets out for 125. Nothing for me to do other than wave the white flag. I fold my cards and he shows pocket nueves, face up.
You're the villain now. Saw those whiskey shots.
Even though the people were great at table 3, the cards were just not going my way. Nothing interesting to report, so we find ourselves now at table 4, Jack King offsuit here, and we decide to call for $40 over a raise. Gonna go multi-way to a pot here, 4 ways to be exact, which comes Queen Jack 5 with 2 spades. I have King Jack offsuit with the King of spades, so even though I have second pair, have some backdoor straight and flush ideas. One villain decides to stab out into the field for $70, and of course I'm going nowhere and put in the call. Heads up to the turn we go, which gives us more outs now. It comes the 9 of diamonds, giving me a gutter to the straight. Check it over to the villain once again. Into the $300 pot comes a $160 bet. At this point, I don't think I'm ahead. When the villain decides to bet into 3 opponents on the flop, he most likely has a good hand. And even though I pick up more outs on the turn, I just don't think I'm in a good spot here to put 160 in the middle. I'll be out of position, so I can't really bluff on the river. Don't really know if I want to turn my jack into a bluff, but I'm going to need to catch a King Jack or a 10. A spade would have been nice on the turn to continue with, but I'm going to make a pretty disciplined fold here and give that $460 pot over to the opponent. After having some fun with Oliver, we're over to table number 5, where there's a straddle, a few limps, and I decide to come in for a raise to $55. We're gonna get 2 callers, and we're 3 ways to the flop, which comes 10-4 deuce with 2 spades. I copy and paste my bet from pre-flop $55, and both players are intrigued by this board. They put in the call, and the turn now comes the King of spades. That gives me a ton more possibilities. Any queen would give me Broadway, any spade would give me a flush. I think now is a good time to slow down and check. Not really gonna get many better hands to fold. And when we're drawing in this situation, I don't want to bet and then one of the opponents raises and I'm forced to fold my hand. So when I check, Jimmy and Space Jam both check behind, giving me a flush on the river when it comes to 6 of spades. There's $350 in the middle, and I could bet small here for like $55, trying to target any worse spade.
Wow, dude, have you lived in Hollywood? That's some sick acting right there. Acting like he doesn't like that river.
But I don't really know if like the 5 of spades is going to call off here, or maybe the 8 or 7 of spades. So out of position, I decide to start with a check, and I'm definitely going to call down a bet. But Jimmy and Space Jam both check behind. This $350 pot is surely mine. And yeah, when I turn over Ace Jack offsuit, Jimmy turns over the 8 of spades. It's debatable whether he would have put more money in the middle. I think if I go very small, he does find the call. But that's pretty much one of a few hands that would find a call in that spot, so I don't really hate the check, incentivizing players to go for a bluff themselves. Here's a situation I bet a lot of you can resonate with. The straddle's on for $10, and we look down at the best hand, pocket aces. We have dreams of Vegas and the Mirage, winning big pots, so I raise it up to $35, and of course, everybody folds. I've been getting a lot of comments that I flop more sets in one video than some people do in a year, so I had to include this in the vlog to let you guys know that I am in fact human as well.
All right, we got Matt and Jimmy here. Obviously breaking the rules at Grayton, but we got an IPA, we got a beer. They think they can chug it really fast. Let's see this. Holy. Dude, we got some legends here. Let's go. Legends.
The Grayton Casino's poker room is so nice, the WSOP wants to bring a circuit event August 15th to the 26th. They have a ladies event for all you ladies out there and a $1,700 main event, so definitely come out if you guys are in the area. And now you guys, the hand of the night. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. Do it for my birthday, that's my one wish. Hit that like button as well, and now buckle in, and you guys are gonna see why pocket sevens is my favorite hand. It's a limp for $5, a raise to 15 from Joe over there across the table, a call to my right, and of course, I'm gonna come in for a 3-bet. Make it $55 to go, and alarm bells immediately go off when JP 4-bets to 210, and Joe puts in the call. I'm getting great pot odds, but I don't need those when I have my favorite hand. I put in the call, and look at that, the poker gods are rewarding me. It's my birthday present. Ace 7-4, bang, we flop middle set. Maybe JP knows that pocket sevens is my favorite hand, or maybe he doesn't, because he fires out into 2 opponents here for $250. Joe says, no way, Jose. He folds his cards, actions back over to me. Do I immediately go for the raise and try to target ace, king, ace, queen? Do I also want to protect my hand against king, queen suited, queen, jack suited? Well, I think just calling in position is fine. That's what I decided to do. The pot is now $1,150, and the turn comes the 9 of spades. JP thinks about it for a few seconds. I see him eyeing my chip stack from across the table. He decides he wants to play for all of it, rips it all in, $797 effective, and of course, I quickly double check to make sure I have sevens. After indeed seeing I do have my favorite hand, I put in the call. We're playing a $2,700 pot with 1 card to come, and we see that we're up against a good hand, but one that we have absolutely crushed. Ace queen offsuit, 1 card to come. The dealer puts out the 3 of clubs.
My favorite hand for a reason, you know.
This $2,700 pot is coming over my way. I love pocket sevens so much that I put them on a hat. That link is down below. There's only a few left. Go buy one if you want to support the channel.
You would have won.
Yeah, I know.
What'd you have?
Queen 10 of clubs.
Why'd you fold, bro? You're gonna
$210, bro.
It took a while for the dealer to count out and ship all the chips over my way, but after that we find ourselves in a fun spot here where we raise up ace queen offsuit to $20 from the +1 position. We find ourselves getting 3-bet to $80 and a call, actions back over to me. Of course, I don't want to miss this boat. I put in $60 more.
I'll give you some action here. Don't be greedy, okay? That's my one rule. Let him for the
And the flop comes ace queen 5 with 2 clubs. $250 in the middle. I'm licking my chops and start with a check. Unfortunately, both players check as well, so the turn now comes the 4 of diamonds. Do I lead out here? Yes, I think that's probably the best move, or I could go for a check raise. But after having a few beverages, I decide I'm going with option B. I want to bloat the pot, and I think one of these opponents is going to stab at it for $75 exactly. Jimmy puts in the call, and now we are licking our chops. Going to go for the check raise.
Let's see what kind of hands you boys got here. It's a little
The initial raiser was just messing around, folds his cards, and that's $75 he'll never see again. However, Jimmy wants to fight for those soldiers he put out in the middle on the turn. He puts out an additional $200, and the river now comes the 7 of spades. With $873 in the middle, I decide to fire out for $750. I think this is kind of a mistake. When Jimmy just calls the 75 and then calls my 275, it's likely that he has a mediocre hand, something like ace 10, ace jack, maybe a hand like king queen, so going large here doesn't accomplish too much. Additionally, he's just going to fold with any of his flush draws, so I think this $750 is a little bit too big. Probably want to go somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 to $500. That's exactly what happens. I fire out for $750 and Jimmy folds his cards, letting me know he had an ace. Still, taking down a $1,600 pot to cap off the night is pretty great. And even though ace queen offsuit is called the parking lot hand, we're here to debunk that myth. $1,600 coming my way. After around 6 hours of play, we're wrapping up the meetup game here from Grayton Casino. Huge shout out to Greg for putting it all together, and a layup from Brad Owen. This was his home casino and helped me get the meetup game going as well. We're out for 2002, so a profit of $202 on the night after a few add-ons along the way. Thanks for watching, you guys. If you want to see a few other low stakes videos where I crush the competition and give you guys some tips and tricks, click on one of the 2 videos on your screen right now. Good luck on the felt, you guys, as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!